earthquake and earthquake tremor and chaos and confusion, and God is coming for him world, and God is sending a sign to all wicked people. Good afternoon. Karen Cecilia here. This might, transcend into a political thing at some point, but right now I just want to briefly talk about this whole earthquake preparation thing. Jamaica is woefully unprepared for an earthquake. And it seemed to me that not only are we woefully unprepared, it seemed to me that we are uninformed, or at least the people who we have elected to serve our best interest and to protect us, even from natural, geological, man-made, or natural disasters. Even so, we still elect people to help us prepare for these things. So, a couple of days ago, maybe about the 27th or the 28th, there was an earthquake tremor in California. Now, California is prone to earthquake tremors. There have not been any great earthquake since we had that one in when was it 1692 or thereabout. California also had a big one. Now, whenever California gets a tremor, Jamaica always experience one a couple days later. Yes, California had a tremor a couple days ago, 3 point something I think it was. And Jamaica should have taken a cue from that and know that something like this is going to happen in a couple of days in Jamaica. But we do not have any kind of organization that takes note of these things and inform the public. So, and the public is untrained. The public is not prepared psychologically. The public is not prepared physically. The public is just not prepared for an earthquake in Jamaica, because several generations upon generations upon generations have not experienced one. And what we have seen of Haiti and what we have seen of other places and mudslides and floods and tsunamis and all of that is a joke to most Jamaicans, because we feel that it can't happen down here. But God is speaking to us. But not only is God speaking to us, I believe God is giving us a chance. And this is the chance that we must take to prepare. Now, in America, not only do they have FEMA, but they also have the Army Corps of Engineers, they have the CDC, and they have several other agencies. Plus, every state in America have their own disaster preparedness plan, their own disaster preparedness agency that prepares for these things. And the coastal states, the Gulf states, Louisiana and Florida and Georgia in some respects, and all of the Gulf states down in the south, all of these states have their own disaster preparedness plan. But yet, nobody was prepared for the massive hit of Katrina, as it was. So therefore, when the Ebola disease came on, what Obama did, Obama was president at the time when the Ebola disease came, he set up this committee on the advice of people like Dr. Fauci and the CDC directors and stuff like that. He set up this White House Advisory Council, broad, big council that had representatives on it from every major agencies that would be called into play should there be any kind of disaster, not only a pandemic or an outbreak of a disease, but any kind of scientific disaster, so to speak. That was what it was set up for. Now, Mr. Trump quickly, of course, disbanded it. He disbanded it mainly because it was Obama who set it up. So he don't want that, and he don't want to listen to a bunch of scientists chatting crap, because he don't believe in science, of course. And mostly he don't want it because Obama set it up, and secondly, him have the attention span of a 6-year-old, so him can't sit down in a 2-hour meeting for anybody to go through with him the possibilities of what could happen then and what could happen here, and this could happen if that happens. Him not have the patience and the attention span for that. So he disbanded it. And I feel, as do many others, that had that advisory council still being in place in the White House, the response to the pandemic might have been a little bit different. Might have been, I mean, it's Trump, you never know, but it could have been a little being a bit different because there would have been people there who would have picked up this thing from before and would have gotten advice and would have been planning and from the first day that this thing happened over in China. But we can't cry for spilled milk, that's what it happened. And of course, all hell broke loose and there was nothing and the pandemic got out of control and everybody across the world was affected by it. And nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do. Because had America had that advisory council, then chances are Britain would have probably been encouraged because the health secretaries would have been communicating. Britain probably would have. I'm just saying that had America had that, so many other countries could have had an offshoot of it in preparation for any kind of outbreak. And, Spain and Italy was hard hit by the pandemic. They had nothing either. Nobody had anything in preparation for a pandemic like COVID. And so millions of people died from that. And here we are now, Jamaica, experiencing these tremors more frequent than we normally do. And it is a warning sign. It is a warning sign that we need to be prepared. Our people, our citizens needs to be prepared for this kind of thing. And here I was. When the thing started shaking, I quickly got up because I was painting and I was sitting flat on my bottom, painting this thing. It's better to sit than to bend. And I quickly got up and stood in between the two columns of the gazebo and could not think of anything else but the dog. Because I was thinking about the one around the back. He was running up and down and wanted to come through the gate that was locked. And the other one upstairs tie up and him was making one heap of ruckus he was going on with. And my instinct was to move from where I was and go get them. Get both of them to be with me. But my other instinct was I couldn't because the training is and the argument is do this. Stay in this one place. Don't try to do anything else. Just like Cliff Hughes did. His training was you in the studio and you feel an earthquake coming, go under the desk, go under the table, stand in a doorway. That's what they tell us. So many of us knows how to respond to that. But the general population is not prepared should something like that happen. And that is where our problem, there is where our problem lies. So here we are. We have ODPEM, which is skewed towards dealing with floods, hurricanes, whole heap of rain, whole heap of water, that kind of thing. That's what ODPEM is skewed towards dealing with. ODPEM is not prepared to deal with an earthquake. I don't even know if there's an earthquake unit in ODPEM. I know there's an earthquake unit in some of our probably scientific facilities. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I am the one who is ill-informed, and maybe I need to inform myself about these things. But I know for a fact that we are not prepared for an earthquake. We are not prepared for an earthquake, and the opposition and the government needs to get together and put in place an advisory council of scientists, meteorologists, yes, if I say it right, and people who knows, social workers and all these people, and put together an advisory council that would be better equipped to advise us when these things are likely to happen. I mean, you never tell when these disasters, you can never tell when a disaster is going to strike. But if California is anything to go by history, and if you go way back how many years, you will see that the fault line in California is the same fault line that Jamaica sits on. We are prepared for mudslide. We are prepared for trees dropping down in a road. We are prepared for rock rolling down in a road. And we're not even prepared for that whole of traffic for many hours because we're woefully unprepared for that. We don't have an Army Corps of engineers who are equipped that as soon as this happens, people move into action and clear the road and get the debris out. We do not have a road crew. We don't have a road crew in ODPEM either. ODPEM is like an administrative organization. There's a road crew. There is, I don't know if there are engineers that are deployed across the country to do things and to check things occasionally and to see where we are. I mean, an earthquake could affect all the people who live near the shoreline, all the people who live on top of a hill that we are not sure how good the soil is underneath them, all the people who build houses on sand, all the people who want to live near the water, near the sea, and all of that without proper advice and infrastructure in place to hold these houses and hold these buildings. But I'm saying that it is time for us now to have a definitive, clearly defined earthquake advisory council that will watch the fault line of California, watch the fault line of other Gulf states, and don't get panicky, but record information and brief and update the country. But also, we need to have people who are trained to deal with these things. Have you seen some of these pictures that are passing around in WhatsApp? I mean, none of this has happened in Jamaica, but there are pictures with wide open roads in ditches. Roads become big, deep holes that cars can fall down in. Nobody not prepared, nobody not trained for that. Nobody has any information about that. And the country and its citizens are left to go look up their own information in order to protect themselves and their property. And that is not a good way to run a country. This country needs more management where all the stakeholders and all the people who are elected to hold positions are together and are communicating on certain natural disasters and certain possibilities of natural disaster. We need to have that. So the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, who probably don't care, kind of care one who don't care two hoots of a damn about black people, but him probably don't care, but the two of them need to get together on their team and start put together a earthquake advisory council and start looking at the possibility, and I mean seriously look at the possibility. There are a whole host of young people who are joining the police force. Most of them are joining the police force because of the few little CXC them have, and them can't seem to get out of the rut they are in terms of finding jobs that they would really like. Some of them not join the police force because they actually grew up wanting to become a police. Some of them join the police force because this is what them have left. They're going to join the police force, get the training, get the salary, be of service to my country, although the police don't serve the country. The police serve the masters of the country. But that is why most young people join in the police force now. So we need to use that, and we need to use the young people and other people who are joining the army as well, and get something in the equivalent of the Army Corps of Engineers. Train them, get them trained and educated on the natural disaster of an earthquake, because we seem to have it down, to some extent we have it down pat in terms of a hurricane. Most people are angry by themselves in terms of a hurricane, and we are far better prepared than we were many years ago. But still, ODPEM is an administrative body that does not have per se an Army Corps of Engineers. That ODPEM could say, all right, we had a 5.2 this afternoon, so we are sending out now engineers in the low-lying areas and the high-lying areas to see what if there are any damages to that could cause any other major disaster. This earthquake tremor could have happened. It happened this morning. You might not see some results from it until next week. Then somebody realized that them house was shaking, and because of where it is built, it is moved. I mean, people house already moving based on environmental decay. People houses already moving. People have to be building retaining walls left, right, and center round them houses or around the area of the house to protect the house moving, because many people have land on a piece of hill. I've seen it up in Jeffertown in St. Mary, where I was the other day for a couple of days, and I saw where people building retaining walls to keep them house from moving, because houses are moving. So I mean, You need to have people trained to deal with this natural disaster. I am scared shitless about a earthquake. I can manage a hurricane. I can manage a pandemic. But as I said to somebody, whenever there is this tremor, my heart moves to someplace else in my body, and that's where I'm breathing from. Because I don't know, it's not where my heart is not where it's supposed to be. Because it is a scary thing for me. And I'm speaking from, and that's where I'm speaking from. That scary place. You know, the community needs to be informed. The community needs to be more proactive in preparation for something like this. Should it happen? And it don't mean you plan for something bad to happen. So people normally say that you're planning for something bad to happen. No, you're not planning nothing for bad to happen. You want to be prepared. If we were prepared for the pandemic, we could have averted so many deaths. I mean, we could have saved lives were we prepared, but we were not prepared. And this is something that we need to prepare for. We need to prepare for this because most Jamaican drivers will be driving on the road and an earthquake happen and the road open up and 2 cars drop down and every man a video it and people chatting crap and some man a try maneuver it through some bushes and some other man come out with a bike and start a brand new business by transporting people across the broken road. People not prepared. So Jamaicans are going to do what we do if these things should happen. And it's the responsibility of the people that we elect to make sure that we are prepared for these kind of things. I'm telling you. I hope everyone is safe, and I hope that everyone is taking whatever precautions that you can take to protect your home and your livelihood. But do keep in mind, Jamaicans, keep this information close to you. Whenever there's a tremor in California, and Mexico too, because Mexico sits on the same fault line. We, Mexico, California, we're on the same earthquake fault line. Either of them have a tremor, we will have one too. So keep your ears to the information points of your social media and start educating yourself on this. We can find ways and means to educate ourselves about preparing for an earthquake because seemingly our government and the people that we elect not doing it and them not taking this thing serious in terms of an earthquake. I mean, this happened this morning and I would very much like to hear that the Prime Minister is meeting with a team of scientists and meteorologists and environmentalists and never a voice note without the bikes. Always the bikes. So I would love to hear that the Prime Minister is meeting with the meteorologists and the environmentalists and the scientists and the weather people and the people who does things in space or whatever it is that they do. I would love to hear that is what is taking place now based on this 5.2. That meeting is taking place and the opposition leader and his team is involved and they are now beginning to look at a plan. Every parish council should every parish council does have a disaster team, I think. But I don't think any of it is prepared for an earthquake. I don't think any of it deals with an earthquake, actively deals with an earthquake. And so I would love to hear that the Prime Minister and his team, the opposition leader and his team, and the parish councils are now sitting down and looking at putting in place parish teams to deal specifically with a case of an earthquake. I would love to hear that, and the Jamaican people must call for that. The people in each parish, from Moran Point to Nigel Point, St. Mary, Trelawney, St. James, Clarendon, Manchester, Kingston and St. Andrew to Portland. That Portland that is sitting right on the edge of that fault line. Kingston and St. Andrew that is sitting on the edge of that fault line. We have to do something. We have to get proactive and we have to do something. I'm willing to do my part, whatever that may be. I don't know. I'm going to have a discussion with some people in the community as to how we read up and educate ourselves in preparation for this. because the way I saw my neighbors' houses swaying while I was holding on to that thing under the gazebo there, holding on to the column, the way I saw that house sway, I swear to God, it was going to fall apart. And it is scary. And it is frightening. Very, very frightening, certainly, for me. So, comrades and friends, Jamaicans, let us get proactive in this preparation for an earthquake. Yes, we are due one. Many, many moons that we have not had one. And yes, God lived down in Jamaica. And God loved Jamaica. Yeah, he does. And I am one of you who believe that if God loved Jamaica so much, him now gonna make nothing great happen to us. Every time him do something, it's just to humble us and to show us that him love us and him need us to do better. Like a parent with his child saying to you, yo, you're not hear me, so boom, we're gonna lick you down with a hurricane, or boom, we're gonna lick you down with this. But I don't think God wants to give us this earthquake. But God wants to see us proactive and preparing ourselves for it. Just like how some of us, some of us are going to church every Sunday and 7 days a week to prepare ourselves to go to heaven. Start preparing for the earthquake in the same way. Because God would prefer you start preparing for where you live other than preparing for where you don't even know yet. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I really don't. So this is my 2 cents on it, and I think that we should take it serious, and I think that we should educate our children and encourage them to read up on it and pay attention. Please pay attention to where the fault lines are. Pay attention to where the environmental decreases take place, and pay attention to the coastlines and the hills that don't have solid earth, and pay attention to the places where the gullies and the I mean, just pay attention and see how we all can do our part to improve our neighborhood and prepare ourselves for just in case God decide that him nah lick us with a belt this time, or lick us with a big stick, or just fling a big stone away and bust our head or something like that. Just in case God decide on that, let's be prepared. Let's find some big plaster, some holy junction violet and all them kind of things, and prepare ourselves for that. I am passionate about this mainly because I'm scared. All right, so I can admit that. So that's where my passion comes for this one. So please, let's prepare and let us pay attention. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you all. Stay safe. Please stay safe. And please, for God's sake, keep the children safe. Thank you.